Hello everyone, this is Enormous with Tech Defense, and this is the threat down for the week ending August 12th, 2012. Our first story today is titled, "The Biggest Cloud Computing Security Risk is Impossible to Eliminate." Cloud is obviously on the horizon for many organizations. It's reality right now, for better or for worse, depending on how you feel about cloud. Um, but by its very nature, it is susceptible to one thing in general, which is all your eggs are in one basket. Uh, you're putting stuff in the cloud because you believe usually that the cloud is able to provide a better service, whether it be functionality or security or both, than you can provide as an organization yourself. So rather than spend the money to try to beef up your architecture, you spend that money on a service that you're buying from AT&T, whoever it may be out in the cloud. Um, but again, all your eggs are in one basket at that point. So if someone's able to hack that organization, that cloud provider, what does that mean for you? What brings us to light recently is Matt Honan of Wired and Gizmodo fame was recently had his digital life destroyed, erased, because he had all of his stuff in iCloud and Amazon Cloud, but a hacker was able to um, get some basic information about Matt on the web just by doing some Google searches, and take that information along with some other things and call customer service for Apple, and get a reset of the password for the iCloud devices. Once on there, the hacker was then able to take off all that information, or copy it all, and then destroy it completely. So that brought about this big discussion this week, and it wasn't even all that complex of a hack. I mean, it's pretty standard, just focusing more on I guess, the social engineering side of it. But that brings us to, I haven't been in the IT industry forever, but I've been around for long enough to see these cycles. And the cloud cycle wasn't always called cloud, right? It was outsourcing and managed security services and whatever it happened to be previously. Uh, but the way I see it normally is, an organization has control of something, they suffer a breach, and then they decide, maybe we can't do this ourselves. Maybe we need somebody else to do this for us, or maybe we need to transfer that risk over to somebody else. So they'll transfer it over to that managed security service or that cloud, and then that cloud provider is going to get breached, and the same thing's going to happen. Well, it was their fault. We shouldn't have trusted them in the first place. Now let's go ahead and transfer the risk back to the organization. At least we know ourselves and can police ourselves. We don't know what they're doing out there in cloud land. Um, so expect to see that. I mean, I've been in the IT field for roughly 11, 12 years right now, and I've seen organizations go through this several times at this point. Our next story up comes from Network World, titled "Third-Party Android Markets Host Bulk of Mobile Malware." So early this week, F-Secure published their quarterly report on mobile malware, where they focused on a few different malware families. And what this showed really is Android was the main platform where mobile malware was hitting. Not so much on Apple or BlackBerry or Windows Mobile yet, but Android seems to be where it's happening for malware on the mobile device arena. So they saw a 64% increase from quarter one to quarter two. Um, and of course, again, Android makes up the bulk of that. The important thing to note here, though, is third-party marketplaces where they're seeing most of this malware um, generated from. So it's not your Android marketplace, your typical Android marketplace. It's the other ones out there that people who maybe are trying to bypass paying for apps or some other thing um, are using these third-party uh, marketplaces. That's where you're going to get most of these um, most of these malware variants as Angry Birds might not really be Angry Birds, or it might be Angry Birds and packaged with um, some malware. And that was one of the articles we've had in previous weeks where we talked about uh, mobile malware now understands, hey, if we give them Angry Birds or whatever the program is they're trying to download, they might be fooled into thinking that this was legitimate software the whole time. And then they're not going to be so concerned about that malware because they don't really understand that it happened. Whereas previously, you would just get an app, you would run it, it wouldn't work, and you'd be like, oh, it didn't work. Maybe I should investigate that further. So, yeah, that's third-party marketplaces. Pros and cons there. So, SMS Trojans were the most profitable form of malware. So, and that's what we talked about last week, saying, hey, by using some of these, or by having your phone text out SMS to a fee-based service, they're quickly making $1, $2 each time they can make your phone do that, and hopefully you don't realize that that's happening to your phone, and the criminals can make all the money they want doing that. So yeah, that is the gist of that story. So Android marketplaces, please just use the normal one if you're going to roll with Android. Our next story up is titled Iran to Shield Itself from Cyber Attack Using Secure Intranet. So the deal here, obviously they feel burned from Flame and Stuxnet and Dooku, and they're trying to do something to combat these attacks, which of course they feel are coming from Western. Uh, the National Information Network is what they're trying to call it. It's an isolated network. I'm actually kind of surprised they don't have one already. I don't know too much about how things are run out there, but that seems like a no-brainer to me. Of course, they should have a classified network that's not attached to the internet for, um, I guess, sensitive government applications, and anything that doesn't need to be attached to the internet. Don't have it attached to the internet. Obviously, that's a bad idea. Um, but network isolation, that's a good thing to do. This is a much better idea than their previous attempts at combating Flame and Stuxnet, which is creating their own antivirus or their own OS. Those I could not see working out well for them at all. You get everybody using one single OS, or you get everybody using one single AV, even if it's one that you control. Um, you know, all I got to do is find a way into that one device or to bypass that one AV system or that one OS, and I'm into everything. So again, eggs, baskets, something like that. But this is a much better attempt from Iran to secure their networks. Next up, we have a story titled Shylock Malware Injects Rogue Phone Numbers into Online Banking Sites. So this is an interesting one. It's a rather creative attack. I'm sure it's been done before, but I guess not on the scale that they're talking about here. But basically what this malware does is it infects web servers, and once on those web servers, particularly for online banking sites, is changing the customer service numbers uh, to rogue numbers that the hacking groups or that hacker group controls. So now when you call your online bank, you're not necessarily talking to the actual bank. You're talking to uh, somebody masquerading as a customer service representative. So much for calling banks to verify the authenticity of that spam email you got, or whatever it happens to be. Um, so yeah, be careful there, and I guess always check with a third-party resource, not just the website that you are on, but also yellowpages.com or whatever other services there are out there. Our last story for the day is titled While Origin Unclear, Gauze Indicates Malware Tool Boom. So I guess riding on the tails of Stuxnet, Flame, and Dooku comes a very, I guess, similar malware variant. This one is using some of the same code as Stuxnet Flame and Dooku, so it has people thinking maybe it has the same origin, or maybe something even more dangerous, which is the source code is being reused um, by other groups now. So what this particular virus does is it's doing some cyber surveillance stuff. So it's going to spy on transactions and other information um, involving some Lebanese banks. So that was the main target in this scenario, was Lebanon. And uh, it's not stealing any information, it's just watching and learning, gathering information, and sending it back to some CNC servers. Um, Origin, again, not yet determined. Some people think maybe this is another collaboration from nation states, while others think cybercriminals now have the source code to Stuxnet Flame and Dooku and are using it to make more sophisticated, more powerful versions of those. And you'll see in this one, it does some things that Stuxnet doesn't do. It encrypts CNC. Um, it does a better job than Stuxnet and Flame and Dooku did. Uh, Definitely more cases of it out there as well. Um, and if that is the case where other groups have this source code and are now using it to create their own variants, um, expect to see these on the marketplace soon, where anyone can buy a kit to use this for $1,000, $2,000, and then we'll be in real trouble. All right, everyone, thank you for joining me for the threat down today. Like always, if you enjoyed this video, check out techdefense.com for more videos like it. Also, we'll be doing a tech tip episode very shortly, so be on the lookout for that. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, hit me up at enormous@techdefense.com. Thank you.